All right, what is up, everyone? It is Samir Sahai Kauser and his favorite co-host.
Ryan Kruger.
And today we are on episode 19, and both Ryan and I were trying to figure out what we were talking about, and we kind of landed on burnout question mark.
Burnout.
And so we've seen a lot of people have asked us, as SCs, we do a lot of different things. Can you guys talk about what does burnout feel like? Like, how do you strategize against it? What can you do to ensure you don't reach that point? And so today we're going to talk about a little bit about our experiences and what we've done and what we think can definitely help.
Yeah, and I think the first thing that would probably be helpful to the audience is honestly just talking through some different strategies around burnout. Like as an SC or as an SE, one of the things that can happen to us is that we're a valuable resource within the organization that people want. And because of that, we have a tendency of getting pulled in a lot of different directions. Now, something we've discussed in previous podcasts is the fact that SEs are naturally curious and they're kind of naturally helpful. So they like to help out as much as they can. So when they get the request from marketing, they're going to say yes. When they get the request from product, they're going to say yes. When they get the ask from implementations and from sales, they're going to say yes. That is just our world as SEs. So something that can happen for SEs is the concept of burnout, is doing too much, too often, and too much of the time. So some of the things that I think would be really beneficial today to explore is this idea of like, how can you strategize against ever getting to that feeling of burnout? I think the first thing is something that you just did, Samir, which was take a vacation. And take a vacation in which you actually take the vacation. Like,
Mm-hmm.
don't go on vacation and be on your phone. Don't take vacation and get on Slack or get on Teams or whatever sort of tools that you have and track things along. Vacation is actually taking time for yourself to come back and be reinvigorated and re-energized for the job moving forward. So I think this is like a good place to start off with is like make vacation be vacation.
Yeah, I think that is huge, and even so much so, if you know you're going to check your stuff on your phone, like, delete the apps. Like, there's nothing that can't wait a week if it's so urgent. You have team members who will have your back. It's not like you are taking a vacation out of the blue. You've known about it. Your team's known about it. Like, it's okay to let go for a few days, a long weekend. Because what that ends up allowing you to do is decompress. If you are still checking your notifications, you're still checking your email, you're still keeping up with certain deals because you feel like you need to, that doesn't allow your mind to decompress, allowing you to refill up your cup. And if you don't do that, you're just going to continue to come back. Honestly, the vacation would have been is useless if you're not really fully decompressing. And I think before we even get into that, I feel like when I was younger, earlier in my career, I couldn't even properly like identify what burnout looked like. And I feel like there's been so many times in my career where I was burnt out. I did not realize I was burnt out. Then my ability to do well decreased until I recognized and actually took a break. So for me, stuff I've noticed when I start feeling burned out, it's like harder for me to wake up in the morning and like be excited for the day. It's almost harder for me to like stay concentrated for long periods of time. What are other ways that you've seen when you felt burnt out? Like, how does that arise, almost like physically or mentally, for us to start focusing or being aware that that is occurring, so we know that, oh, we're on the verge of hitting that peak and it's going to just go downhill.
I think for everybody individually, they're going to experience different sort of physical signs as well as emotional signs and mental signs of burnout, right? And I do think there's different levels to burnout where like you're just starting to get burned out, you're getting to the point of burnout, and then like you're at the point of burnout and there's no return. So I do think there's like variations of it all. That being said, something for me is I become irritable like outside of my job. Like I can do put on the happy face, make it all happen, but like those times in my career where I have been burnt out in the past, like what happens is it starts to impact my actual like outside of work because I'm really exhausting myself to the point of no return. And then the only time I have to recover is at night. And there might be other things that are going on. And like you don't have the energy that you necessarily can, right? So like then there's some like irritability. I'm like you too, like where like the lack of sleep or like the feeling of like exhaustion in the morning, just like, oh, I just can't get out of bed. Like all those types of things, I think start to settle in, especially like as you're starting to get to that point of burnout. Some things that I would say like work really well for me is I start to notice some of those like physical triggers or the mental triggers or emotional triggers that happen is like I focus on things that bring me a lot of energy. So, what are some things that bring me energy? Listening to music and just kind of listening to music uninterrupted. Watching like comedy stuff or things that make me laugh or make me feel creative. Making sure that I go to the gym and stay like physically active and keep that influencer up in my life. So I do think like for everybody, you'll have to identify what are you feeling? Like what are those signs? So that way, as you start to notice them and become aware, you then know like what are the habits or things that I can do to ensure that I don't get burnt out. And look, if you get to that point, if you're starting to feel burnout, like that's a signal and a sign to say, I need to take a break and I need to take an uninterrupted break from work. You can't do like all right, I'm going to take off this Friday. But what happens is I work really late on Thursday. And then on Friday, I'm traveling. And at Friday, while I'm, at the airport, I'm checking my messages. I'm checking my email. I'm responding to just a couple of things, just 5 minutes, just 5 minutes, right? And I've done that before, right? I've told my wife, just 5 minutes. It's just really quick, really quick. I just need to look at this one thing.
The
All
just in
right,
case laptop.
yeah, exactly. Right. The just in case
The
laptop.
just in case
Exactly.
laptop.
Right. You bring it with just in case. Well, just in case somebody really needs me today, then I'll have it with me. Right. It's like you have to find a way to leave it all behind no matter what. Right. And just say, like, look, I'm out of office today. Everyone's set up for success. I'm gone for just one day. Everything will be normal once I return on Monday. And you have to be confident in that. I think another thing too is like when you take an extended vacation, like you just took an extended vacation, one thing to do to like set yourself up for success for the extended vacation is ensure that your teammates know everything that's going on. So when I take an extended vacation, I always create an out of office document that tracks all the deals that I'm working on, the stage that it's been updated with, the different reps that I'm supporting, and then I share that with whoever is going to be backfilling me. Why? So that way they have visibility into it. So that way I can be out of office and feel like we're out of office. And something that I would say, like, at least that I really learned from the last role that we were at together from our manager, Russ, was like, he did such a good job, in my opinion, of really maybe like validating us as individuals to say, like, you deserve time off, right? Like, you deserve the time that you have off. So when you take off, my expectation is that you are not doing those things. And that's hard for me. That was hard for you. That was hard for Curtis. Like we all struggle with that because we want to be there. We want to be helpful. But having somebody and having our manager in our corner to say, look, you deserve this. Take the time off. It gave me a lot of confidence to say, I'm not going to check my phone today. I'm actually going to put my phone into a safe. I'm going to just turn my phone off. I'm going to delete the apps. I'm not going to get the notification. And I just think like, to the management that's out there, or like to the people that are running SE teams, like I guarantee you have some people on your teams today or people on your teams that are going to be there in 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year. Like this is a topic that could be explored all the time, all around, every day of the year. Think about your employees. Think about your people that are reporting directly to you. Like give them the space and freedom to feel very comfortable to take that time away from work and to explore that time to actually be away from work. Not to say like, hey, by the way, if something comes up, like check on it, right? Because then like they will have the propensity to spend 10 minutes responding to an email there, 10 minutes reading through a Slack message, 5 minutes checking this thing, and 10 minutes on this. And next thing you know, they've spent an hour on the day that they've had to be off. Well, when they come back on that Monday from a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, they're not reinvigorated. They're not refreshed in the way that they need to be. They really need to have time. And I think like overall, like in the US, we struggle with that, right? Like
Oh
we
yeah,
really struggle with this
we
idea of
love working too much. it's almost like a badge of honor to be like, oh
Mhm.
yeah, I ripped a 12-hour day today, and like I'm team no sleep. Like it's a like that. I feel like the hustle culture here in America is we've taken it a little bit to an extreme, and that's definitely something. Especially when we have European colleagues and we're talking to them, and like I have a friend he runs a company in France, and he's hustling, but then also like when he's off, and like he's like, yeah, I'm going to the Alps for a week and not bringing anyone, and I told the whole company that you won't be able to get a hold of me. And if it's really that urgent, like you can figure it out. Otherwise, it'll wait till Monday when I'm back. And I feel like that's not something that we do very often here. And I do want to double click on your point about having a manager who encourages and who almost validates. I think that that was huge because sometimes you like, I don't know about you, but sometimes I felt guilty for taking time off. But then you think about it, it's like paid time off. Like you have PTO, like these are it's like designated time. So like, why do I feel guilty about taking something that has already been agreed upon when I joined this job? That this is the days accrued, or it's flexible PTO or whatever it is. It's such a weird dichotomy that I think Russ really helps saying like, yes, you guys are busting your ass, you deserve it, it'll be okay. And like I think hearing your manager say like it'll be okay is huge. And then also another thing I would add is something I did for my last break was I set up just an email forwarding. So even if an email came in, it forwarded to my manager, and so that there was no gaps in that area. So if something did come up that just came to me, out of office would go out, would be forwarded to my manager. If something was urgent, he could jump in, and that really sealed the gap there, and I could properly be like, okay, disconnecting, like just being in the moment. um
Can I ask you a question? Can I ask you like a fun question I'm thinking of here? All right. And we always like to like spin this thing, right? We never know where it's going to go. How many times have you taken vacation? There's actually been a true like tier one emergency that genuinely just needed you no matter what, and nothing good could have come out of it unless you were around. How many times?
like zero, never.
Exactly. Right? It's zero. But like the hustle culture here in America is like, I have to. And my team needs me, they need me, right? And to your point, I feel guilty. When I take a day off work, I feel guilty, right? I do. Because I like hustling. I like working. I wake up in the morning and I like to do what I do, and I love my job as an SE. That's the truth. And I'm really invigorated by it. And I get a lot of energy from my job. But when you go to take that day off and you want to reset for yourself, I find it to be so hard for me to just like let it go and not check the messages. And I try really hard at that. And I'm not perfect. I'll tell you that right now. I'm not perfect. I am, like when it comes to this topic, like I'm not the person because I do it. I check the messages. I've tried my best. And look, I have been able to get better at it. And that's what I will say to all of you out there that may be struggling with burnout or be the type of person to check your stuff. There's nothing wrong. You don't need to feel guilty about doing those kinds of things. It's the kind of culture that we've built. But if you can start working your way out of those kinds of habits, it will be good because you'll come back after a vacation and you'll feel reinvigorated, ready to do really good work. The issue is like when you start compiling and compiling and compiling and you never take the time off for yourself, is that eventually a year in, 2 years in, you'll be burnt out and you'll say, I don't know how I can do this job anymore. And you're not going to be creative. You're not going to get the best kind of work out of yourself. So look, it's definitely a journey, right? It's a journey to like get better at these things, be aware of who you are as an individual and say, you know what, here's an area that I think I could be a lot better at. And for me, I'm willing to say, hand up, Samir, it's something I could be better at. I could be much better at actually taking a vacation and being on vacation.
Yeah, and I think it's also it's detrimental to your health to push yourself that hard. Like there are people that will you get severely ill if you don't take the time to relax. I think for a long time, like relaxing was like wasting time. Like in my mind, it was just like, oh, if I'm relaxing doing nothing, I'm like wasting time. I could be doing something productive. Like this idea of like being productive 24 hours a day, 12 days a week, like it it's very counterproductive in the sense because you need time to like decompress. And I think that kind of brings me to like the next realization that I had on this on my last vacation was I didn't even check. I like not only checked out like work stuff, I like checked out of just all like social media, all connection essentially. I'm gonna sound like ridiculous, but like it's like back in the '90s where the only way we can communicate with each other was like talking to each other, and you had to be with me or like a phone call. I feel like when you can disconnect from the technical world and like reconnect with the natural one, it does something for us that as humans we've been doing for millennia, and only within the last like 20 years have we been hyper connected, and that's been detrimental. And I really, really felt that this time because I put my phone on airplane mode. I only had it so I could take photos and videos of what I was doing. But otherwise, that it was just my camera at the time, and it was weird the first day because you have like this nasty habit of be like, oh, what's going on? What's the score of the game, or what's what's the latest thing going on in the news? Like, let me go refresh my X feed and see what's going on, or Instagram and see what all my friends are doing. But then day two, day three, you're like, that doesn't really matter. I can go. What's the difference between looking at it now or a week later? Like, I'm not going to miss anything life changing. And then you actually get to like be an experience. And I think that really changed my framework of just having to always be connected, whether it was work, whether it was with my friends, whether it was with like family, whether it was on Instagram. It's like it's okay to disconnect from everything and everyone and just be there with my wife, with the people who I was experiencing life with at that time. And that was like very profound for me.
That's very cool. I have to ask, like, did you find that you substituted your time for anything different? Like you got off the social media apps, you got off your work apps. What did you fill your time with?
Dude, it's gonna sound weird, but I would just stare at stuff. Like we
Okay, sure. Yeah, like now I have to say, explain more. Tell me about
like
one of your staring contests at something. I
like when
want to
we
know
were in
more.
We stayed in Cusco for about 10 days, and we stayed in a room that overlooked the city from our room, and like a beautiful view. And I would stand by the window with my morning coffee, stand there for like 10, 15 minutes, just staring at the cityscape. I did that like almost every day. Like just looked around different parts of the city. Uh, and even when like we had to take taxis places or anything like that, just looking outside. That's all. I mean, it's just looking around and starting to pay attention of what's going on in the world. I think that we also took a stop in the Galapagos and we took water taxis from one or like a speedboat from one of the islands to another, and this is like a 2 3 hour speedboat ride. Yes, they had like Wi-Fi on the boat, but instead of other people were like browsing Instagram, I was just looking out the window, looking at the water, seeing the birds fly. I like was mesmerized by the birds diving down, being 6 inches over the water, and like riding the waves like that. And so yeah, I just like stopped and stared at the world around me. And it sounds kind of ridiculous when you say that out loud, but that's like what I consciously tried to do with my attention instead of trying to get like this instant dopamine hit constantly. I felt like I was like dopamine fried, and like I think burnout is not only like from work, but just like hyper quote unquote connection to the rest of the world instead of just being connected with what's right in front of you.
You have too much blue light. You need a little bit of natural light, right?
Yeah.
No, I think it's a really good. I think it's a really good call out to make. Like something for me that I've noticed. Like I used to be the kind of person I'd be at a concert and I pull out my phone, I record some of the concert, and sometimes what I felt like would happen in those moments, I would be like losing out on the actual moment. I'd be like focused on the video and not my eyes actually seeing the video. I'd be like looking through my phone to see the concert. Like, wait a second. I want to be here. I want to be present. And I want to have these memories to myself. I don't want to have these memories of looking through my phone and stuff like that. And don't get me wrong, like the photos and the videos are great to have for your future memories, but at the same time, I feel like we've kind of become this culture now where it's like, if I don't take a zillion pictures of it and I don't take a zillion videos of it, was I really even there? And it's like, yeah, you really were there. And the more present you are, the more present those memories will actually be with you moving forward. So I think like it's a really good call out, and I think it's one of those things that we can do to actually help us reset. Like if we were to think about ourselves like our cell phone, what do you do every night with your cell phone? You charge it. And at times, like we have to find a way to charge ourselves. If you start to feel burnout in your role, it could be as an SEA, this could be as like in any, the best thing you could do is find a way to reset. So what are some of those things that recharge your batteries? Like I said, is it working out? Is it listening to a podcast? Is it watching a movie? Is it going for a long walk with your pet? Is it finding time to just designate to having with your pet, right? So for me, like I have my cat who was featured at the beginning of today's episode. Like I try to make some time for my cat. Just say, hey, I'm going to give a few minutes here. I'm not going to be on my phone. I'm just going to enjoy my time with my cat, be present. Like those are things that bring me energy and help me reset those batteries to, stay where I'm at. I think overall, like that's just such an important thing. And it's kind of a deep topic. It's a deep topic to explore because I think people are afraid of it talking about burnout. I think people are like afraid to admit, hey, I'm
Hmm.
exhausted, or because we have this hustle culture. And I'm here to say it's all right. Like it's okay. You can say these things. There's nothing wrong with saying these things. But if you do feel these things, then it's time to start figuring out how to recharge those batteries. I'm trying to think like any other strategies come to your mind as like, hey, when I'm getting burnt out, I notice like this really helps. I think one thing that's jumping in my mind is just like protecting your calendar, like
Yeah.
putting in blocks to say like this is my working time, this is not my working time. If you want to have me work outside of my working hours, you need to ask me. You can't just book it. You need to ask me. I think it's also okay to like reject a meeting, to say like, hey, this is not the week for it. This is, like there can be a better week for this meeting. So I do think like protecting your calendar is one of those things that can help, especially if you are starting to feel burnout. Like give yourself some time for creativity. Give yourself some time for lunch. I made a joke on LinkedIn a few weeks ago about like the SE lunch is always a kind bar and a water, and it's like, like look, I'm poking fun at it, but like it's the truth. There are days where like I have had a kind bar and a water. There've been many days throughout my whole entire career working, even before pre-sales and even before sales engineering, where it was a kind bar and water because hey, you're back to back all day. What you can't do is be back to back to back every single day and never have lunch. Of course, you're going to feel burnout if those are the things, right? But look, we can poke fun at it. We can say like, hey, this is a funny little lunch.
Yeah. From time to time, it'll happen, and that's almost avoidable, but it can't be a consistent thing. To your point, I actually encountered a colleague who had blocks on their calendar, and it would auto decline anything that came on that block. So, like, I remember I sent a calendar invite to them, got a decline right away, saying that this is like protected time. And then I pinged them on the side. I was like, "Oh, you told me to like schedule a meeting on this time, but I got auto declined." And they were like, "Oh yeah, I just have that, but we can do the call." And so like I thought that was very important in the sense of if anything just comes out of the blue, it'll be declined. But if we have a conversation, like I can always override it. And then something that I've been trying to do, and I haven't been very good at it yet, especially because we're working from home. And I think working from home, it bleeds between my workspace and my home space, and trying to keep like work to my office and keeping this room that I'm in right now as the area for when I'm doing like 90% of my work. Sometimes I like going and working in my sunroom because the sun's nice and I like sitting with my plants and whatnot. But most of the times I try to like keep work in this room. So once I exit this room, I can like mentally be like, okay, I've left the office. So it's not 8 p.m. on a Tuesday or 9 o'clock. I'm trying to wind down for bed. Some email comes in and I was like, oh, I'm going to go and take care of this. Now all of a sudden it's midnight because it wasn't just like a one off thing. And I was like, well, screwed myself for the next day. And so I think having like I've read this a lot. I haven't implemented it, frankly, but I think it has power. Trying to figure out how to do it in my own life is like a startup routine and like a wind down routine of like starting your day and ending your day. I'm kind
What's
of
his name? Brian Johnson? Are you like we following the Brian Johnson? The for those that don't know, he's famous on Twitter and Instagram for like being the healthiest person in the world.
Also
Is this
probably
part of your wind up and wind down routine?
$3 million a year to
Yeah.
do that. So, I mean, I think as I've gotten older, I've started to understand the value of having a routine. When I was younger, I thought having a routine would lead to like monotony and mundaneness, and I like avoided it like the plague because I was like, I don't want to live a life where I'm doing the same thing every single day over and over again, and I can't tell my days apart. But what I have learned to know is a routine allows you flexibility in other parts of life. In the sense that, like, if I know that this hour and a half in the morning always goes like this, that allows me to remove a cognitive load off of my mind, allows me more space during the day to go and make those decisions. And then the same thing on the bottom half of my day, like right before I go to bed. These are the things that I do every day in order for me to prepare myself. So personally, I'm at the point of trying to round out my morning routine of when I wake up. Like I have gone to the point where have written down like every step where it's like get up at this time, take your vitamins, brush your teeth, then go drink your water, go downstairs, do a workout, take a shower, make your smoothie, and by this time you should be ready to get like started at work. And now it's about being consistent about that every single day. Still struggle with that, frankly. But I think that once you have that, okay, this is how my morning starts, this is how my evening ends, and this is when I want to sleep, and this is when I want to wake up. A lot of that, then you're you have regularity that your body needs, and I think that helps lead you not to overwork yourself, not to overextend yourself, because now I have bookends. This is my time I need at work. Yes, sometimes you're going to need to do outside of that. But if I can go 75-80% of the time I'm in my domain of this is when I start and this is when I finish, and these are the things that I tell my body to do in order to get into the mind state and out of the mind state, has helped like keep my sanity for longer. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I think it makes complete sense. And I know there's tons of value around this, right? Like there's a guy who's dedicated his life to this particular thing, which I think is kind of cool. And like I'm super interested by it because I know there's so many facets of my life that I could be so much healthier in. And like wish I was healthier in. Like I can tell you all, I wake up in the morning, my alarm goes off, I pick up my phone, I check fantasy baseball, I look at Instagram, I check my emails, I lay there for a few more minutes, I recycle through that. And then I wake up and I start my day and I'm brushing my teeth and I'm looking at fantasy baseball. And like, like those things happen. And then I go to the gym and then I come back and I make my smoothie and then I get ready for my workday. And look, it's great. Like I have some level of routine, but I know that routine can be improved upon. Do I really need to spend that time on those apps or can I be more present and just speed up my morning? But I also think like, look, we're not perfect. We're not like made to be perfect. And like at the end of the day, you can try to say like, I'm going to optimize every single minute of every day that I'm awake. Like, look, you need time to also just like rejuvenate and just like take 5 minutes and
Maybe
take
a
10
blog.
minutes to just like stare at the wall or stare at something entirely different, stare out the window. Like we get so caught up, or at least like even for me, I get so caught up in just like screen, other screen, screen, other screen, screen, other screen. Okay, great. I have a 2 minute break, screen.
Screen, yeah. I feel like
That's tough.
that, yeah. It takes such a like a constant or a conscious effort to not do that, especially because like in our role, it's screen all day, and then it's like, oh, with dinner we'll watch a show, more screen, and like, oh, before bed I'll just scroll Instagram, more screen, and oh, I'm gonna wake up, more screen, and so I like, yeah, I've tried to part of my nightly ideal routine that again ideal I still trying to get there is just, well, I've started like my phone, like both my wife and I, our phone doesn't come into our bedroom. Like my charger is in
Where
the kitchen, and she turns her phone off and she leaves it in the kitchen as well. So that's like, I think that's a big step for us to just not
where's the
even.
alarm? Where's the alarm?
I have it on my Fitbit.
Okay.
It vibrates on my Fitbit, and before I got a Fitbit, I bought an alarm clock.
Okay.
$12, $15 on Amazon. You have no excuse. Where's the alarm is such a just a, it's a fake ass excuse. I'm sorry, Ryan.
Hey, look, hey, I'm not like proposing it as like the reason why I can't keep my phone in the room, but like it begs the
It
question of where's the alarm? I can tell you, I was just in London, and for those following on LinkedIn, like I had a pretty interesting issue with a black taxi cab. Feel free to check that video out. It was the most expensive taxi ride of my entire life, so made a mistake there. But the nice thing about the place I was staying at, the charger was like the bed was up here. The charger was so far away. So I had to set my alarm. Meaning I had to actively get out of bed to get the phone out of the alarm. And what I noticed like throughout that process was just like having to get up, get the phone, turn it off, and come back into bed. I would just be like awake because I'd already felt the ground underneath me and was like, I'm awake. And so I was thinking, I'm like, man, that would be nice because I will do like the alarm goes off, snooze, alarm
Snooze,
goes off,
snooze.
snooze. All right, gingerly wake up, check fantasy baseball, like wash, rinse, repeat. Yeah, if you're listening, you like fantasy baseball, you're finding out it's a hobby of mine. Uh, but no, like it's, like I do think there's so many things that we could be doing better to avoid the potential work burnout and also just like the potential life burnout too, right? Like life has interesting ups and downs in it. And look, the better we can be more connected to the natural world. I like the terminology you use there, the natural world around us, the more connected we're going to feel to our purpose and all the other things to give us a lot of energy, right? And honestly, I like this term of just being an energy seeker, right? Go find the things that bring you energy. Does Instagram really bring you energy, or does it bring you that dopamine hit that Samir was talking about? Like, ask yourself those questions. Maybe it does. Hey, if it does, like,
It could.
power to you. It'd be awesome. For me, it's definitely like, it's not. Unless I see a cool cat video, then like, I'm probably getting like a little energy from it.
Yeah, I think that something interesting that I read. I've not tried this before, but you could set an alarm on your phone, put it in another room, and put the alarm on vibrate. And you would think that you wouldn't hear it, but because you've primed yourself to know that alarm's going to go off on vibrate, you will be like acutely aware that like your senses will be able
Something's
to
vibrating in the home.
pick it up, yeah, and wake up, and then go and grab your phone to turn off the alarm. Because like someone, like there was somewhere where I was like, oh, I don't want to turn my alarm on loud in the other room because that's going to wake my partner up. And then I was like, well, try putting on vibrate. Don't tell your partner. Like
Mhm.
only you know that information, and your mind will be primed to like pick up on that. Personally, I've never tried it, so I can't say that it works or not, but it could be an interesting experiment if you're leaving your phone out of your room.
Before the days of like the iPhone, I had like a traditional alarm clock, or honestly, I can't even remember like what I would do prior to like having an iPhone for the alarm. But I used to tell myself like whenever I had to be up for like an early flight or something like that, I would always just be like, before I'd go to bed, I'd close my eyes and be like, all right, you got to be up tomorrow at 4:50, 4:50, 4:50, 4:50. And like, even just that like verbal affirmation of when I was going to get up and thinking about the time, I would wake up at 4:50 on the nose. And it's weird that you can like prime your body to like adjust those things. So I fully believe if you try this vibrate thing, it will probably work. Curious though, because I don't know if I'm going to do it. Maybe I will. Maybe some of you are encouraging me. Maybe like that will be my takeaway from today is like, I'll try this out. I'll leave fantasy baseball behind for a day and I'll let you know how it goes.
Yeah, I think that's that could. No, we'll see how it goes for you. There's a lot of benefits of trying to prolong that screen time in the morning. For I can like speak about that personally. Just I have purposely I do use my phone in the morning, but I use it for a timer for my workout and when I weigh myself. I really try not to look at any notifications from LinkedIn, text messages, emails, no notifications, just using it for a tool, not something to connect with others. That like delineation makes sense. And then when I'm done with my workout and I'm done with my shower, then those are like my gates that allow me to unlock the rest of the functionality of the phone.
Very interesting. I think that look, I mean, I think there's some good strategies, tips, and tricks in here. I guess like as we're wrapping up today's episode, like high level thoughts, man. Like run me down. What would you say to the audience? What would you say to somebody as it relates to burnout?
I think the first step is to pay attention to how you're feeling. If like you're, oh, something's feeling a little bit off, like to your point, I'm a little bit more irritable, or I used to be able to do this during my workout, and now it's just like not feeling right. I think your body gives you signals that are subtle at first, but then can come all crashing down, and it feels like all at once. And so, really trying to be in tune with those feelings, and then like don't feel bad for taking time off. Like it's only going to benefit you in the long run. And you can put it this way: would you rather take one day where you can fully disconnect, you know, every 4, 6, 8 weeks, or no days for a year and then have to be out for like a month or 2 months? Like I have had friends who have just gone for 2, 3, 4 years, and they're like, dude, I just need, I'm out for 9 months, 10 months, because I just needed to like stop. And they went and just figured out what was important in life. And it's like, if you take those small steps to take care of yourself, you'll be able to go the distance. You can't just be like, you can't sprint a marathon. You have to take it slow and consistent.
Yeah, I would say like I agree. Like I think if there was one thing that I would say is like be aware of like the physical triggers that are out there, right? Like your body starting to be more exhausted, or some of the different emotional or mental triggers to be aware of as you might start feeling these things. And then try to go out there and find the things that rejuvenate you, that recharge your batteries. Whatever those things are, go find them and use them to your advantage, and use them to recharge those batteries on a day in and day out basis. Maybe it's something like taking a bath. It could be something like going on a long walk. It could be something like going and seeing a sporting event, or seeing a live music, or seeing a friend. Like all those things are great outlets to use to recharge your batteries, but be present. Like be present with those things. You go and have a dinner with a friend, be present. Don't be on your phone looking at work. You go to a concert, don't check your Slack, don't check your email. Like those are the things that I recommend, because otherwise, if you're there and you even check it one time, you really weren't away from work. Even if you just check it for 1 second, 1 minute, one email, one message, you really didn't get away, and you need the time away. And you, as an individual, should be important enough to take the time.
You deserve the time off. You deserve to refill your cup. You're only going to do better work if you are fully charged. And I mean, each time you say like checking your notification or anything like that, it's just in my mind, I was like context switching. Context switching, right? I'm having a good time. I'm here present in the moment. All of a sudden, I check my email and something happened on a deal. You really think I'm thinking about the moment now, or am I thinking about this deal? Because it came up and it came into my zone. And so like we all know it's hard to context switch between work related things. It's also hard to context switch from your time off. And if you're checking work, you're not able to really be in one place if you're doing that.
Pet peeve too. Pet peeve. Like pet peeve of mine is being out with a friend and then they're just like on their phone the entire time. Or like, I don't want to be there. Like I want to be with the individual that I'm with, not the individual on their phone. Cause like you said, man, like the second you look at it once, it's now on your mind, it's present. And now you're not really there with me. Or if I check it, I'm not really there with you. And like your friends matter, your family matters, like everybody else and everything else. Like even if you're just by yourself doing something you like, you're doing a puzzle, you're reading a book, you check it one time, like you can't really go read that book and be focused on it. I feel like, oh, well, there's this thing I have to do tomorrow morning. I didn't know this thing happened. Ugh, that's tough. Like, look, just give yourself the time, freedom, and space to go and recharge the batteries. That's huge. Don't get burned out. You can't do the best work that you can if your batteries are burnt out. Gotta
Mm-hmm.
have fully charged batteries at all points in time.
Yeah, man. I think that also, as like me and you were talking before we jumped on this, we were both like trying to write content, trying to put stuff out there constantly, and there comes to a point where it's like, oh, my stuff is just getting stale. Or I don't have any more like ideas, or there's just like something missing. And like I took a full month off because I was like, I'm like losing it and can't do this anymore. And that break was rejuvenating, and like I came back with a lot more spark, a lot more inspiration, and I just think that that applies to all facets of things.
Yeah. And look, I'm feeling it too, like on the content front. Like I haven't felt as connected. And I think that was a sign for me, just like take a little pause, take a deep breath and really think about the content that I want to push out. And maybe like start doing some more content outside of just the world of pre-sales and sales engineering. Like, build out some other things that are kind of fun and like use those things to rejuvenate me too. Like life isn't always so serious where it always has to be the exact thing that you do every single day. Make it fun. Like, spark it up, do a podcast. We're on episode 19. It's crazy to me. I can't believe it.
It's crazy, yeah.
Probably coming up on a year now soon.
Soon.
Yeah, soon enough. Like it's amazing to me. But like do things that you're passionate about. Do things that bring you energy. This brings me energy. It's why I do it. It's why we do it for the people.
Yeah,
We're here for you, and it's exciting when you guys send us messages and say, hey, this is helpful. So hopefully, these topics are helpful for us to explore.
Yeah, and with that, if you have any ideas how you've dealt with burnout or how you felt it, like pop them in the comments. I feel like the more examples we can give to others, the easier it is they can identify it in themselves and avoid the nasty feelings that burnout entails.
That does it.
Alrighty.
For episode 19. Till next time. See you, everybody.
Peace.